10.com. Here we are, strolling through Clapham Junction on this bus tour of galleries today. London can be a real mission to get around, take hours from get to place. So we are going on a bus that's going to take us around. We've all paid a little bit to get this bus so we can get around and see the galleries quickly. If you ever fancy doing something like that with Art Top 10, put it in the info below, and maybe we could do an Art Top 10 minibus tour of galleries in London. Anyway, let's head out of Clapham Junction. This is where we're picking up the bus, and let's see what happens. Okay, everybody, the bus has arrived at last, and we're getting in.
We've got baby goats on Thursday, and my kids have just woken them up to say,
Hey everybody, right, we got to Gallery 1, Cooke Latham. Here we are, about to head into this one. First floor, Cooke Latham, here we go. It's not the right mood. Right, here we go. Classic London gallery style, sort of wrecked area of doom. Oh, and a tandem bicycle. Right, there we go. So who's the artist who's here at the moment?
So the artist here is Raf Zaiko, so this is him here.
All right, nice. Cool, check him out.
So in a second, you're obviously welcome to have a little chat.
Yeah, very cool.
Because when I talk, I'm literally like steaming like that.
let me introduce Raf, and this is his show, and this is, have a look round, this is to see the type of work he does. Raf, would you give us a little introduction? We talked about systems, connections, and...
Yes, I feel like I kind of treat each of the shows kind of like almost like a kind of like a music album. So it's got this kind of old kind of rhythm to it, and it's got kind of its own kind of story. So in this particular show, in the critical research, I was looking at sirens, and I was looking at sirens kind of like from a kind of multitude kind of angles, because you know the sirens we know from mythology were those kind of half female, half kind of monster creatures that are using their voice to lure people to the death, the sailors. And then the idea of the siren changed with the wars and with the kind of conflicts, when the sirens and the sound of the siren was something which was warning people about the danger. So it's kind of flipped. So that was my kind of beginning for the kind of research. So I've been looking into a multitude kind of signals, from the smoke signals that are happening from within the structure, which you're going to see in a bit, to the kind of the sound signals, which are also going from the pieces, but also the kind of the rhythm of the kind of the murals. I wanted to kind of make it look a little bit kind of more sonically, so it's kind of a little bit like more kind of onomatopoeic, that it's kind of like...
It's gorgeous. Raf graduated, he did a sort of a part-time MFA at Goldsmiths a couple of years ago. I mean, and the graduate show to me was like a fully formed exhibition. Copy the box. He is actually copying the box.
He has gone in the box. It's a vape, isn't it? It smells like vape. I can't. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So I mean, that wasn't the performance. That's like part of the performance later.
Okay, Cooke Latham finished. Back into the minibus. Sunday painter we got to now. Nice fish shop there as well. Look at that. That tuna. It's amazing. Right, anyway, nice bit of London. Here we go. So this is Sunday painter, I think.
Just to see it from the outside.
Sunday painter. Right, I'm having a little look at the show from the outside.
It's been here for about, I think they've been here for about 5 years.
This is Cynthia Daignault is what we're looking at. Not these ones here though, this is another one. Right, down here is Cynthia Daignault.
And the cab driver got back.
So these are the ones we've come to see here at the Sunday Painter, Cynthia Daignault, American artist, I think. Oh, schnauzer, right? It's so hot in Battersea. Seems to be like a survey of America.
I mean, this artist, when you start working with Cynthia, was she already with Night Gallery in LA?
She wasn't with Night. She previously had a gallery that she folded, but she'd done pivotal and important exhibitions like White Columns.
In New York, which is a non-profit space in New York. But you worked with her. You was the first international gallery.
We brought her over again at her first kind of
I remember that
exhibition.
show.
Yeah, but she already kind of had quite a strong and consistent following in New York. Her works are predominantly kind of sequential paintings, and they're very painterly. They're wet paintings, and they're figurative.
And the other thing is, the more I was reading up about sort of Cynthia, I thought actually her subject matter is America.
Totally.
Totally. I mean,
Really
you know,
American-centric.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, so this, should I talk about this?
Yeah, I'd love to, yes.
So this is called Xanadu. This exhibition this is the first time she's created works just on paper. And they're a new type of paper that's specifically good at handling oil paints and degrade in the way that paper used to. And so they've got a long-term.
She only works in oil. Does she only work
Only
in oil?
works in oil, yeah. Sometimes she does black and white paintings. Sometimes they're colour. Often they're sequential. So these are actually 4 works. These are in. This is a work. This is a work. This is a work. This is a work. The reason for their being on paper and flush to the wall and hung in this quite kind of sporadic way is a reference to the technology that we use. And a lot of this is talking about how we now scroll through our realities, our kind of rapidly augmented realities, with a series of images and kind of pull together these strange narratives. So she's kind of doing that, and each of these works is kind of touching in different areas. This is suburbia over here, that's a major theme. There's a bit of kind of climate change over here. There's a bit of Coca-Cola and what it is to be American. There's the death of punk over there and what that means to contemporary society today or contemporary culture.
And so it's quite interesting. So I know that she's interested in media, but how so? And often she's quite specific about, you know, the previous bodies of work with one a day over a period of time, going through this sort of landscape. How did these particular images?
This is kind of like a mashup of the kind of semi-autobiographic and then I guess wider issues. So there's some relationships she has to certain things within these works. So there's a tree that she's been tending, or there's this. Yeah, this is about suburbia and the anxiety, especially in America. What suburbia means about race and this fear of this invasion of suburbia, this fear which is what a lot of politicians kind of exploit, which is here, they're going to take over, they're going to burn you down. So it's talking about blackness and white spaces and mass exodus and all of those churning kind of forces. And then there's also, I guess, these quite superficial ideals of how suburbia is kind of presented within the media. So I feel like she's scratching away at the surface and trying to get to the core of what's actually happening in this quite complex, delayed world.
So actually, and the other thing that I just read is that in some ways she wants the work to be fairly open-ended. So
it's not didactic. It's not exactly, and I think that's pushed further in the mode of display, which means it's non-linear. It's like
I know she's actually making it harder for us, but maybe that's the way I think about the way you scroll on the phone, or the way my home screen on my computer is, or
Yeah, but it also leaves room for you as well. It leaves room for you to interpret. How they're hung, or what combinations of whatever it is, like open-ended, or how you read it is open-ended. So I think that's quite a good, quite clever process to kind of engage with, because it means there's a relationship between actually the viewer and the artwork that's a bit deeper than a dictatorial one or a teacher.
That's right, that you are told this is what.
Yeah.
She's not letting us do that. But has she ever shown quite like this, where she's got?
No, so this is the first time that it's ever paper flat against the wall, and she's hung works that have been. We showed a work called Marilyn, which is about Marilyn Monroe, and kind of looking at all the dimensions of Marilyn Monroe, from the feminist icon to actually how feminism and how living within the patriarchal society that holds these kind of physical emblems up on high, but negates the human experience. She kind of really tapped into all of those, but that work was in a similar format, but not with such spacing. I think she's very good at exhibition making as well, and this is quite an experience. It's not how you conventional painting. So she's creeping them in.
I mean, and even down to has she ever done anything as
stripped back?
Yeah.
Rarely. But again, those are colours that's related to Coca-Cola. It's like as simple as a colour can trigger a connection or an association.
But look at that, so beautifully hung. Anyway, she's now with a big gallery. She also has a big gallery in New York, the Casman Gallery, one of the famous. So
it's good.
Brilliant.
Very solid trajectory.
Very solid. Very solid.
Very good about it.
Really, really interesting artist, but but there's a book here which is of that particular.
This is of a painting called Light Atlas, which is what she's most famous for.
Corvi Mora and Greengrassy is where we are now. Just let out the minibus and we are strolling in. What's the name of this artist?
Sorry? I know.
Jem Perucchini, I think is the name of this artist. Cheers.
Tommaso, this is, because I haven't seen this. This is Tommaso, who he is called. And as I was explaining this, you swap, don't you, between the two
we
spaces?
alternate between the two exactly. So the next show, we're always opening at the same time. We're opening on the 9th of June. I'll be downstairs and Greengrassy will be here.
Okay.
So we're kind of constantly doing that.
Yeah.
Which is great because it means that we have two spaces of very different nature in which to do shows in.
And I was just saying, I couldn't do much research about the show beforehand, except coming to see it, which I hadn't seen. And because he's a young artist.
Yeah,
it's
it's his first show. Yeah, it is his first show. So He's 27. Yeah.
It's extraordinarily iconic. I mean, sort of, I just can't get over it. Like, you know, I've only been in the space of 2 minutes. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more. The press release was difficult to unpack. It was about chess and whatever, but I'd love you to tell us a bit more.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So Jem is 27. He graduated at Brera Academy, Houston, Milan. He graduated at Brera last April of last year. And he is Ethiopian, and he was adopted when he was a toddler by a Milanese family and was brought up in Milan. And he's, you know, to all effects and purposes, an Italian artist. He is, yes, as Karen was saying, a lot of the work refers to the game of chess. So in that painting, they're getting ready to play. The diptych is called the chess game. The two little paintings on the side of the large one are called Sfidante, Challenger, like a challenger in the game of chess. And he's interested in that, well, for lots of different reasons, but he's very interested in the way in which, you know, each what are they called?
Chess pieces.
Each piece has its own rules and can only do a set number of movements, and they can't just do anything.
Of course.
So it's a kind of like about how predetermined life is, just in terms of the choices you can make. And also, you know, white pieces always begin the game. So it's slightly polemical, also in that, and it kind of refers specifically somehow to citizenship laws in Italy at the moment, because if you're born in Italy of non-Italian parents, you cannot apply for citizenship until you turn 18, which means that there's a very slow process after that to actually gain citizenship, because bureaucracy is so complicated. So people who want to get into the labour market usually can't, you know, who are not Italian, cannot really do that in full until they're 20, 21, 22. So it puts them at a disadvantage. So the work is like this. It's very quiet. It has all these references to old masters.
But I know. I mean, but it is quiet. It's not in your face. It's very, and it's so referential to, you know, old masters.
Yeah. So that one's called Italian Painter.
Oh, yeah.
So it's that again is, you know, quite a manifesto painting.
Extraordinary with that the ledge at the front. But also, even those lines, I think about the cello, I mean, there's so many different, and the pattern, he's got very distinctive sort of the patterns in the work as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's, you know, I think it is about thinking about African textiles, but also early Renaissance textiles. And also he's devised this way of applying paint to the canvas, which he basically does with an atomizer. So he kind of dilutes the oil and then sprays it onto the canvas when it's sort of laying flat.
He doesn't use a paintbrush.
Well, I mean, and then everything else is applied with a paintbrush, but the stain.
The step.
Yeah, you know, those stains, those markings that are clearly not applied with a paintbrush. And then I think what's really interesting is the kind of the layering that he does with that. So he would apply, you know, he would mask certain areas of the canvas and leave other exposed, and then apply at different stages of the painting. So there's a whole kind of gamut of possible choices.
And I love the way that you step up. I mean, this is almost, I've just been in Venice, and you go to the church, step up to the waters.
Yeah, he designed the whole installation, and he wanted to have this kind of altar-like, you know, like it's a sacred space.
And then there's certain gestures I can see.
Copperfield Gallery.
Yeah.
Who are we seeing here?
You're seeing the the main show is Ada M Paterson.
Ada M Paterson, you see we're going to be seeing.
You'll see why. And,
To be rewritten on
another
banana leaves.
artist called, well, there's a viewing room, Shiraz by
and so this is the first UK solo exhibition by Ada M Paterson, which is lovely that she's here with us today.
Thank you, very nice to meet you.
You might remember her works from Tate Britain exhibition, like Between Islands, which was a triptych of photographs that you can see over there as well, but it's not part of this exhibition. So it decided to be rewritten on banana leaves, and it's presenting for the first time in London. The video that's gonna start in a couple of minutes. The whole world is turning.
And tell me, and the kangas, because
Kangas are textiles that are very typical of East Africa. Ada's mom is from Kenya, and so she transmitted her this tradition of the kanga. They're traditionally created in pairs, so you usually get two, and then you kind of like sew them together to create a dress, or perhaps you just leave them as they are. They are offered as presents during rite of passages or important occasions such as weddings, engagements, or very ironic.
do they often have text in them?
Always.
Always, always.
Yeah, always.
That's very important, the text element.
Yeah, because-
and very personal, the central image. They can be.
It's the message then, like I mean, the message is conveyed from the image and the text itself. And the text sometimes is very religious. It can be we're all travelers and God is the driver, or they're very, very ironic. It just really depends on the.
I mean, they're lovely words, the words in here. I mean, yearning. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I think there's one that's not hanging here with the, it looks like a playground.
Oh, with the slides, yes,
sign.
yeah, exactly.
I know,
In here, we're showing these four that
Yeah.
are part of the video.
Okay, so they relate to that.
Exactly, you will see it in the video.
Yeah.
And these one too far out in your own time, that is the only one that is printed on silk. The other ones are on cotton. And everything starts from sorrow. So they're watercolor, color pencil, gouache on paper with sometimes more collage elements, sometimes just the text. And then they're scanned in a resolution and printed on cotton or silk.
And this film, so I was reading, it's a nice sort of introduction. It's about the aftermath of a hurricane. Is that right?
Yeah, so I made this film sort of after the passage of Hurricane Dorian in 2019, where devastated parts of the region disappeared, a large part of the Bahamas. But in terms of the film itself, like the basic story is four lovers are on a beach awaiting the arrival of a familiar guest being the hurricane, and they're overwhelmed by how much this guest has changed, how much this guest has grown, and how they can no longer sort of welcome this guest in the same way that they're used to. It's sort of thinking about how climate crisis has intensified the hurricanes that arrive in our region, how our infrastructure, as prepared as it is for Category 5 hurricanes, can't withstand the changes in these things which are part of our landscape. So it's sort of a grieving of the ways the hurricane has changed, the ways how we've been changed as a people by powers elsewhere. And
that's not only natural phenomena, but it's actually structures.
Yeah. It's definitely just like sort of seeing that the hurricane as someone who's also been changed, not as the thing that's at fault.
And how long is this film? How long?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes. And
We have more chairs.
I'd love to. And is there sound? Is there so there's does it change?
There'll be a sort of voiceover kind of halfway through the film, but it's mostly atmospheric and there's also sort of a bit of music at one point. But yeah, mostly atmospheric.
Just Ada, so you were in this fantastic show, Life Between the Islands, at Tate, which finished end of last year, beginning of this year.
Yeah, beginning of this year.
Yeah. And just remind me, your work there was it one of the last rooms? No,
Yeah, it was this one.
Second last, yeah, three. The truck took the photographs and we're looking for lights.
Was it that's it, I remember those, yes, exactly. Yes, exactly, yeah.
Two performance films as well.
Yeah, so that was amazing to be in, amazing show to be in.
Yeah, I think Ada was the youngest one, no? Yeah, you were the youngest one in the show. Yes. Yeah, from Peter Doig to... Oh, sorry.
So we've hung it, not dead centre in the room, but actually as if the picture was double the size and a full face. So we are actually in the right position to look at the camera. So this is the fun part of making exhibitions.
But always female figures, always.
It does.
Well, it doesn't mean that they're not all, but related.
Yeah.
And they are very sensual. If you think about Mary Magdalene's in history, I don't know, I suppose you wouldn't call them sensual. What else would you call them?
It's just a sort of ecstatic.
Yes, but this, yeah.
There's also a kind of realism to the depiction of the body, I think. So, for example, Diana here, if you look closely, it's a sort of realism. Here is Diana being pursued by Actaeon as a stag. Actaeon eventually was then devoured by his own hounds.
So there's these little references. I can see what she's
the red currant,
the red currant,
which appears in two other pictures. And here is again another thing that Natalia you do so brilliantly is you are very much somebody who's grown up with an iPhone, so you know about cropping, cutting, and here is a great example, I think, of the application of that. This is the same person, just a completely different crop. And then in the Pygmalion pictures, we're seeing again a real crop, brilliant cropping of the story, actually, not just the image. So on the right here, we have Pygmalion's pride, which is the moment where Pygmalion's perfect sculpture is turned into flesh. So if you look actually at this picture on the right, you'll see it's not grey, it's pink.
What's that drawing? I know, and it is timeless, isn't it? It's a strange lady. I don't know.
It is not a big one. I would have gone through maybe I have to do this. One of those books you like going to it now and then.
I've got different conceptions. I'm very, very this work is one word.
That's like very dramatic place, like the walls and like run away. I don't know.
Strolling through Peckham on the way to Bosse Baum now. I think it's somewhere down here. Got all these funky veggie shops around here. Lovely veggie market there. Oh, more veggies. More cool veggie market.
How are you?
Oh yes, Fanny Lane? Yes. Well, that's right, I never did that.
Yeah.
It's
It's a nice.
That was cracking though.
So, somewhere in Peckham, good bird out there. Wandering on down. There we are at
Not here for both in and out.
Bosse Baum, I think it says. It's heading, oh yeah, Bosse Baum. Here we go. Nice.
Of course.
In we go. It's a real thing to put them high up on the ceiling at the moment, isn't it?
I'm going to come back.
Why?
Is that, would you be able to get, yes, this is Richard.
I'm just going to do a quick introduction, as Karen's asked me. I'm Lana from Bosse Baum. This is my gallery. Welcome. This is a solo exhibition with an artist called Catarina Silva, who lives and works in Rome. She studied at Camberwell, but many years ago. And this is a new body of work that she's made, which was started a year ago last summer when she moved back to Rome from London. And it also marks a new cycle in her work. She spent sort of the last decade making quite similar looking paintings, but also different in many ways. So this is a new body of work, actually two bodies of work, the large paintings and the small works. The large paintings are made in Rome in her studio, and the small works are made in the Dolomites, where she's been spending quite a bit of time outside, so painting in nature, and also just maybe portable, you know, so she can go.
I mean, just at the colour palette, there's a colour palette that you associate with her work. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, the sort of it's quite bright, the colour palette. These like bright pinks, the greens, the blues. Actually, orange is the new colour, but mostly that. And actually, so in the show, which is quite interesting to tell you, this painting behind you called Seven is a sort of a marker. It marks the end of the last 10 years of work and the beginning of the next 10 years, because it's using unprimed canvas, which is how she preferred to work before. And she often actually worked on the back of the canvas as well. You can see it sort of semi-transparent. You can see the stretch bars. And there's a lot more space, like the void, which is what she calls the space in the paintings. So this is quite an important work in itself, and then the other large works are painted, they're on primed canvas. There's a lot more white, which she relates to her sort of recent work in digital work, actually, in digital performance online. So the idea of a screen coming in, so that's why this sort of white, but the void has now got a colour which is white.
But the work is inspired. The work is, where does she have images that she works with, or is it is a fairly intuitive?
It's quite an intuitive, quite performative practice. She was painting on the floor quite a bit, now she's painting on the wall, which is a change for her, but it's all about sort of the gesture, the power of the gesture, and how much power you exercise. The best way to explain that is she likes to sort of make a gesture but not finish it.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
So it's just a break or to rupture it or to stop it. And for her it's a sort of, it's a reaction to male abstractionist painting, basically, that, you know, that those gestures are very much finished.
And so maybe that's also why the colour palette is, I don't know,
yeah,
chosen this colour palette.
I don't want to gender it, but yeah, it's...
No, I don't know, yeah, I am absolutely gendering it, but yeah, it's a reaction.
I am as well, I guess, in a way. But so all the other gestures that you see, these sort of flower forms, she calls them, not my words, they all make up a secret alphabet. So they're all sort of signifiers of letters, words. You know, some are quite personal things to her. I can't tell you exactly like what is what. She wouldn't want me to, but you know, for example, like this is sexuality, but so she has spent a very long time like building up this alphabet, if you like, of the work.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you. No, that's wonderful.
Please take a poster because there's a really lovely text written by a curator of Boston in Wales. Yeah.
The CCA is where we are now. Let's head in and see what happens. Temporary is what we're heading for now. Virginia. Oh, here we go. Virginia Overton. Right, nice. Let's see up ahead.
So this is the other side of it. Well, it's a Victorian swimming pool, and so it was all used for the artist studios, and they've converted it into a contemporary art space and really good exhibitions. And the artist here, Virginia Overton, is not only she's actually with White, represented by White Cube. She's got work in the curator section of the Venice Biennale, and she comes from Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, strolling in. This place used to be a swimming pool. And we're going to see Virginia Overton.
Where would you like us to start? Great toilets.
Great toilets, nice.
It's the first one, but be careful. Okay,
right.
so
So all these bits of wood are hers as well?
no, everything.
This bit?
No, everything is. No, I mean this is an installation in the space. So she's made an intervention in the space. She often sort of the works sort of go from edge to edge, whether they're hanging or suspended. You know, and often reference the place.
This is the swimming pool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, part of it. Isn't this? I mean, it's amazing thing. So actually, I think her practice works really well with this space as well, which is still you can still see what it is. And what do you think? Here is Anthony Harrows. Yeah. It's fantastic. And it says speak to Gary.
Oh, right.
It's good, but honestly, I think her work is fantastic.
Yeah, very touchable, isn't it? Marble. The darkened zone.
The darkened zone.
Always good for a GoPro.
Isn't it wonderful? We're going to have to go.
Oh, it's quite a fun one here.
It's
You quite easily trip over.
Trendy's version of a glitter ball.
Yeah, that's actually quite weird, isn't it? Quite like the darker the better.
Buckler.